back. Click to continue. Alright. Alright. I just move around and cause mayhem. Alright. Maybe I'm not understanding what's... Oh. Currency earned, 161. So you're a giant right there, okay. Land explored, 99%. People met, 106. Okay. Let's destroy monuments, because archaeology is all about destroying monuments, right? I'm a professional. Oh man, I was not able to steal all the land. It would have been nice if I could actually see, a top-down perspective of things. And what I mean by that is in the results screen you say something along the lines of what you're able to destroy, and you have this nice way of, depicting the character's ground trail. So being able to see like what kind of trail I took would have been nice. Alright, cool. I do like that your character changing progressively as you go along. It's kind of a nice take on things. I don't really see the point of, using the multiple space button attack. Alright, I profited a lot of money. You pillaged, destroyed, and enslaved in the name of expansion, sports, and economy. They ran, you chased, they built. You destroyed. They died, you profited, you were the monster. The colonial and the slave trade era, which this game drew its theme from, was no stranger to monstrous people or acts. Modern research is helping to shed light on this part of history. Learn more on eurotaste.eu.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Eurotaste is a mirror training supporting a new generations of humanity to uncover and interpret new evidence of history. Oh, interesting. Huh. Oh, okay. I'm just kind of like... So it's a game about slavery, and the whole point of it more was like, as a consequence of that, they'll just destroy any sort of historical artifacts that makes you think that their civilization was relevant. Actually, now that I think of it, I'm curious. So this looks like it's unavoidable in regards to people. I'm just like starting. Can I go through the mountains? No, I can't go through mountains. Gotta make sure. Alright, the people doesn't follow you in this level. Weird. So, were these like the Aztecs? At least, I'm kind of thinking that's what those artifacts are. This looks more Asian based. No, maybe it's South America based. Or it's some African base that I just don't know. too much history about. That's always a shame, you know. Africa has like such a rich history somewhere in there, but you don't notice it. Oh, I didn't notice that those. Okay, yeah, you did do what I. You did actually put in like a little mark on the land specifically, letting us know what our trail is. I didn't notice that. No, I feel like a complete fool now for suggesting that. The camera controls could use a lot of effort, to be completely honest, because I would like to be able to control it. Okay, yeah. It's hard to tell that that's actually the path that you know, the little darkness on the green the patches there is the actual path I've been walking along. Ah, come. That's fine. I'm just kind of like thinking about what my play experience was and whether that reflected well with like simple experience with it, which was just kind of destroy anything in the path, and that was like the most I was able to grab from that, and it didn't quite tell me that the game was about slave trade. So in a lot of ways it felt to me, again, I'm just saying just to me, like it kind of invalidated some of my experiences. But again, that's my opinion on that regards. I do like though that you put in the learn more kind of thing, and you have this whole information about you know, trying to uncover the history behind slaves and also the history behind the culture that they came from. You know, I think it's kind of like important. Destroy everything was pretty much the experience of 99% of the colonial conquest and pre-Columbian era. I agree to that. At least from what I've learned about it, I can completely agree to that. It's just that I didn't quite see it from a god's perspective. I do see the metaphor though, but to me I felt like the metaphor was kind of not quite what I experienced. I don't know. Like, for example, if there was an objectable reason to get more slaves, that might have been more effective to me. I guess I'm being like, I guess I'm being really picky. Regardless, I do like the graphics. The camera controls was my biggest complaint. It is mildly fun to kind of destroy things and watch you kind of stampede around. I do like the not have helped as much, but either way, I did like that, you know, the people are running away towards the end, and the people kind of follows you in the beginning of the game. Tells me it kind of helps the metaphor of the intended experience. But at the same time, I think the reason why I didn't notice it from the beginning was because the event cannot be understated. It was a absolutely terrible event, but if we're going to kind of depict it that way, then to me it would make more sense to actually make it feel like it was devastating rather than leaving it to the very last page where you have an info sheet and you know, basically a plot dump to let me know that that's what the game is about. And I don't know, maybe there are games that does that more effectively than I know of, that I don't know, but to me, I personally, any game that kind of does an info dump and says that's the metaphor of the game, I don't think works as well. But again, that's just me. But yeah, let's actually get to the rating. Innovation, to be fair, I don't think I've quite played a game like this. So hey, average 3 innovation. Fun. Yeah, it was okay. I liked it. The theme, you are the monster. I do think this is a very interesting interpretation of this. I'm willing to give you all 5 stars for that. I do think this was a really cool take on that line of thinking, in the sense, not just in the sense that you're literally a monster, as in you're kind of like this Satan creature that is white and all that kind of stuff, but also the fact that the end reveal says that this is supposed to be a metaphor kind of thing, and I do appreciate the level of thought that went into there. The graphics was really endearing. I actually did like the graphics. It didn't quite make me think towards one way of the game, like the intended experience. There is no humor, and rightfully so. That's fine. And the mood, this is kind of like the kicker to me for the mood. Like, or depressing side, or it's more into the hallucinogenic, kind of feel free, go all ahead and take over the world until you kind of face the reality kind of thing. But whichever direction it was trying to go, I had this very specific experience from it, and I felt like the end screen kind of invalidated that experience. So, like I said, I'm kind of torn on this part. I'm going to go for average at this point. Yeah, I do think this. I do want to see more entries like this, so I'm definitely going to give you a higher score on the overall. Like, it's a very interesting take on the game. It's a very interesting line of thinking of, how could I make a game about this very serious topic? And I do think that a lot of thought and careful details were pulled into it, and I do appreciate all the small details they entered in there. At the same time, the reason why it's obviously not 5 stars is because it doesn't quite hit the right mark, in my opinion. It could be better, in my opinion, but at the very least, I like what you were trying to do, and I do like what I saw. A surprisingly dark and depressing game, but one it actually in some ways I feel like I had fun with it, and in others, or in some ways I appreciate the approach of destructiveness of colonialism. But in other ways, I feel like the fun experience I had was invalidated. To be honest, I'm not certain what would have been a better route. Make an utterly depressing game, or make a fun one that gradually reveals itself. But I like the ending, but at the same time, not certain what would have been a better route. I think it's still very impressive on the details that's been added into the game. Also fix the camera controls, please. Hopefully that comment makes a lot more sense than I'm